Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is Tuesday, the 4th of August. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Rough, Hugh McDonald and Darren Jackson are here with me, ready to react to some of your comments on your favourite team. There's so much to talk about on the programme tonight. Of course, I have to apologise to everyone at the start, basically, because I never really picked up on it yesterday. It was a big announcement. We should have actually reacted, in greater detail about it, but when it was mentioned to us, we just completely forgot all about it. But with Hugh and Darren here, it's probably better now that we're able to comment on it. We've managed to get the pictures in of the early round qualifying opponents for Roughy at the Bowls, because he announced he's now taking up Bowls. So that's the first round. It looks as if there's a difficult 6 people there, Roughy. When you actually get into the qualifying rounds, now that you're into the Bowls, what's your reaction to the opponents there?
Yeah, well, I think some of them look around about my age, and look around about what I could probably get up to.
They've got your gear on as well, Roughy.
I have to say, don't knock it till you've tried it. I enjoyed it last night. It was a good company at a nice level pace. The weather, the sun was shining, very sociable. Got the knack of it quite quick, as you can imagine. We're having a sporting background. So I'm in a competition on Friday night, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, it's the big one. I just cannot wait for it. Hi to Martin McNally, Tam McGuire, Alison, Carol is, as ever, always supporting us. Stephen Hill as well. We'll get your thoughts, guys, on the new Rangers players shortly. Tommy Ferry, great to have you with us. Neil Jameson, Stuart Derrick, Tony Robertson from Brisbane. Tony, great to have you back with us. There's lots of people joining us. And Martin McNally says, it's all about the jumpers, lads. Yes, those opponents. Roughy taking up Bowls. Hugh, I could maybe have looked at you and thought maybe at an outside chance Bowls, but then no. But Roughy, seriously.
Bowls is too energetic for me, Peter. Getting down wouldn't be the problem. Getting back up. So I bet you, I'll tell you one thing in all seriousness, right? Here's my bet of the season. Roughy wins on Friday night. Right? That's my nap. That's my nap of the season. Roughy to win the competition.
Well, listen, I cannot wait for it. I mean, Darren, Darren, if you and I ever take up Bowls, it's the end. It's as simple as that.
Well, Peter, my dad loved it. My dad was a big bowler, so but I can't see, not just now. But you never know in the future.
I've seen you do some daft things, Jackson, but Bowls is not one of them, let me tell you. Anyway,
I know what they are.
You're falling into a big trap, Mr. Martin. You're going to get a Bowls eternity camera in the next hour.
I don't mind if they cane me. I just, as Jackson knows, when I eventually release the book, he'll be taking up Bowls to dodge it. Anyway, quite good to hear from Grant Logan's already in there. He says, "Don't knock it till you've tried Bowls, Peter. Certainly, it's not an old man's sport anymore." Grant, I hold my hands up to it. Maybe I'm just out of touch with it.
Peter,
Anyway,
actually, I went to school with Richard Corsie.
Oh, yes. Oh, goodness.
I went to
wow.
Richard, yeah. So, ended up champ.
Well, I was going to say to you, nothing like that for a wee bit of a name-dropping QA. Richard Corsie, that's the first one of the day.
Ruffy, I could try and some way maybe get his autograph if you're looking for.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, Darren, I can go a wee bit better than that. When I played with Hibs, I stayed in Gifford with Willie Wood, who was the world champion for numerous years. Big Hibs supporter.
Absolutely. Listen, just out of curiosity,
I'm going to jump in.
Who do you know?
No, I'm going to jump in and say, I'm just going to jump in and say, Roughy, I'm so glad that Tam Cowan is not on the show on a day when you're talking about Willie Wood. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing about it is I must apologise to everyone for even talking about Bowls on the programme. Damien Grant says, greetings from Kiev in the Ukraine. Now, I don't know about you guys. Hey, We're ticking off Kiev as well. I don't think we've had Kiev before. And Lee McManus says, Hugh looks as if his headphones are from the 1960s. Don't worry about it, by the way. I spent an absolute fortune on them just to get them through to him because the rest of the gear was absolutely woeful. Anyway, lots to talk about. The big news is in the last hour, Rangers have announced Kemar Roofe has signed. Now, of course, he comes with a pedigree, certainly with Leeds United. I mean, I know Leeds United wanted to keep him, Darren, and Rangers have been on his case for a wee while. His name hasn't gone too far away from their list of targets. So suddenly, they've waited, they've been biding their time, and they've got him from Anderlecht.
Yes, Peter, I can only say I've watched him in a couple of games in the Championship with Leeds, probably the season before, and he looks very comfortable in the ball. Likes to get in the ball, likes to play. I'm just trying to work out where he's going to play, because he looks to me as though he could be a 10. But a good signing for Rangers without doubt. A good footballer, and I would imagine he'll score a few goals as well.
Yeah, it's a 4-year deal, so suddenly, Roughy, Steven Gerrard is just getting his teeth into the type of players that he thinks will be starters, almost certainly, in the side. He's obviously looked at it, he's looking at Jermaine Defoe. The Morelos situation continues. He won't be getting Florian Camberry. He's joined the Swiss side St. Gallen, Roughy. I think, just a personal opinion, I think Rangers dodged a bullet in signing Camberry. I didn't think he was Rangers class.
Yeah, no, I think Camberry would have been a third or fourth choice in a Rangers setup, and obviously the boy is not prepared to be third or fourth choice. He thinks he's much better than that, as we've discovered when he goes to press. But no, I think Rangers are showing a bit of intent here. I think a lot of the Rangers supporters, I mean, Darren saying he's a number 10, I don't know much about him at all. If he was a striker, I think the Rangers supporters would be worrying, is this the time for the exit? Is he loading the bases, to let the main man go? But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But if he certainly stays, it's a reinforcement. And it's a reinforcement of what we said. He needs to bring people in that are in the first team immediately, not hanging about. So they certainly are. But I think Lenny's about to unleash 2 or 3 as well. So we'll have to wait and see what that's going to be like. But for the rest of the teams, I mean, I haven't seen any for the rest of the teams. Unfortunately, again, I think Aberdeen were a disappointment. I think we're now on a Rangers-Celtic runaway season again. I can't see anybody, forcing them into splitting the two of them or really splitting third. So we'll just have to wait and see if they all buck up their ideas a bit.
Well, Roughy's just summed it up for the season. That's all we've got time for now. There's no point. There's no point talking about anything else. Roughy's just said it's a runaway for Celtic and Rangers. The rest of you can all get stuffed, and it's as simple as that. So he's become more punchy this season since he's joined the bowling league, and there's no point in us all continuing. Mother of God Almighty. Scott Callanan says, Peter, what did you make of the Jamie O'Hara comments that Bournemouth are a bigger team than Rangers? This has come up on our Facebook. Now, I don't usually like. Well, I mean, we comment on other pundits, but, I don't usually like talking about other broadcasters, and everybody's got an opinion on life. But all I would say to you is, you're probably right on the back of a stamp, Jamie O'Hara's knowledge, Hugh McDonald, of Scottish football.
Yeah, first of all, though, I think we should, have a long discussion about the Lanarkshire Bowls League, Peter, now that Scottish football... Roughy has put Scottish football to bed for another season, so there must be some eye-watering ties coming up that we can preview on Friday night, between the teams in Motherwell. On Jamie O'Hara's the whole basis of TalkSport, as we know, is based on clickbait, and it's based on people attracting ire and attracting people to it. To be fair to him, he didn't say Bournemouth was a bigger club than Rangers. He said Bournemouth was a bigger job than Rangers. That's to be accurate. And yeah, I think it's all about the way in England. The whole thing now is about, and always has been for many years, it's been about the EPL. And really, they don't tend to look much at the other big 4 leagues. Never mind anything north of the border.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, Hugh, but I would quantify. I was only reading what the comment that came in there. I would say to you that Rangers are a bigger club than near enough 90 odd percent of the teams that are in the Premier League in England, and I include Celtic in that as well.
Well, the only problem with Celtic and Rangers is they're not in the league. I mean, the day and hour if Celtic ever get into the EPL will be the day that, first of all, you will not be able to catch Dermot Desmond because of his lap of honour around Ireland as his shares go up by 20-fold because of the value of the club. And it would be automatic, Peter. This isn't a prediction. If Celtic and Rangers went into the Premier League immediately, very, very quickly, given the amount of money that the broadcasting deal brings them, they would be immediately competitive in the Premier League. They would be immediately, because they would be able to afford the players that the EPL can afford. I mean, we're talking about, at the moment, when we're talking about Rangers and Celtic signings, and Scottish signings in general, we're talking of a certain level, which there is no way now that Scottish teams can. They find it difficult to compete for championship players. I mean, they might, in this case, today, find it very difficult to compete for a League One player because the boy at Peterborough, the striker there that Celtic and apparently Rangers both fancy, is almost certainly going to go to Brentford. So, you know,
are you talking about Ivan Toney?
Ivan Toney. Now, are you going to tell me that Brentford are a bigger club than Celtic and Rangers? No, they're not. They're a bigger club for Ivan Toney because Ivan Toney knows it gives him a shot. A shot that might come to fruition tonight of playing in the English Premier League.
Yeah, got to say hi to Paul McGuire, who's joined, Ronnie Moore as well, John Friery, John Stevenson's joined. John is an old friend of mine from Edinburgh, and there's nothing worse, Roughy. I don't know about you, but once you get to maybe your mid-40s or your 50s, is it still okay to post yourself with a beaming smile wearing your brand new Hibs top? I'm just asking because obviously John did it on his Facebook last night, and I looked at it and I thought, John, are you really at that level? You're really at that level that you're posting yourself with your Hibs strip with a big giant smile. Is it okay, Roughy? I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's good. Good luck to him. Yeah, that's what it's about. I think all the fans out there would be desperate to get their strips on and go to a game. So, you know, it just shows you how keen everybody is to get back into the things.
Yeah. Did you ever wear strips when you were going to support a team, Darren, when you were a young boy?
I had a few strips, Peter.
Yeah, I know. That's just signing on, Darren. That's not. I'm talking about your youth.
I just went in the wardrobe and just see which game I was going to. I liked. I was obviously a little boy. I always got strips for Christmas or birthday and all that. My very first strip was actually Aston Villa away. Can you remember the white one with the collar
with the pin?
Blue. Oh, yeah, that was my very first strip. So
What was it like, Darren, to be middle class and to be able to get strips of that quality? What was it like, Darren? Tell us.
That was only bad. I had it for a few years.
Did you? Okay, that's fine. Anyway, John, apparently it's okay, so that's fine. You can post that photograph tonight again. The reason I'm looking up is I've got this new screen, Roughy, where I can actually see what people are saying. Rather than me looking down all the time, I can see people who are on YouTube and Facebook as well, giving us immediate reaction to what they're saying. So thanks very much to Andrew Breslin. He says, guys, do you think Boyle will go to Celtic? And Martin Boyle's been linked with Celtic before. I'm not too sure that's still on the agenda. I might be wrong. I mean, he did look good. I must admit, I watched the Hibbies. I was there at Easter Road at the weekend, and he looked good. I just wonder, you know, I think if anything, Hugh, Celtic, if they are going to make signings, you know, they're going to be very, very much in the same boat as I think Steven Gerrard, where they're wanting players who will make a contribution to that side now.
Yeah, I think Boyle's a very intriguing one because I think he's one of the players in Scotland outside Rangers and Celtic who could play for a Rangers and Celtic quite easily because he's apart from his obviously incredible pace, he's added really good finishing since he came back from that serious injury. So I wouldn't rule out Boyer because Celtic might be looking with Mickey Johnson now. People might think they're a wee bit light on the right-hand side of the park. Although, the first choice on the right-hand side of the park, Frimpong and Forrest are very, very strong. But a deputy for Forrest, maybe. I think, though, that the big question in Glasgow about signings would be, do Rangers keep Morelos? I think that's unlikely, and I think it's unlikely given the events of today. And do Celtic keep Edouard? Because that'll be crucial to what Neil Lennon does going forward. I think on Sunday, if we needed any reminder of how potent Edouard is, we saw it yet again on Sunday. And he's integral, I think, to everything going in Celtic. And I think if you'd went to Neil Lennon, put him in a darkened room and said, you get no more signings at all, but you keep Edouard, I think I know what his answer would be.
Well, it's funny you saying that. He did say he was pivotal, but I think, Hugh, on looking at Celtic, their necessity right now is to get in a centre half. Somebody tall, physical, commanding. I think that's what they definitely need. Edouard, are you saying, Hugh, that your gut feeling is that they will lose him? Do you think they'll lose him?
I don't know, Peter. My gut feeling, my very, very strong feeling pre-COVID, and it was backed by, I made the calls on this, and there was a very strong feeling that Edouard would leave this summer. That was it, done and dusted. That was the very strong feeling. COVID has changed everything. I think the Celtic narrative to Edouard will be, stay on for another year. We've got an offer on the table here for a contract. We're going to build your wages in, and we won't be harder to argue, to deal with next summer when clubs will definitely be in a position to come in. Things will be more stable. You'll have more choice of the club that you want to go to because you'll have another season under your belt and things economically will be more stable. I think it's, at the moment, I would say, Peter, I would say it was 60-40 on him staying. Part of it being that politically, the season is so important to Celtic, and Peter Lawwell can't be seen to be getting rid of such an asset in the 10 in a row season. But, and that's a big but, if somebody comes in with something like £40 million, would you? It's a.
Is there any chance you can stop starting a riot on our feet here? You've put a finger on it, and people will be laughing now. They'll be all going mental.
That's my mini-me figure. It was like, £40 million.
Exactly. I can't believe you. There'll be people there'll be Rangers fans on here saying, shut it, Nick Donald, he's not worth 40. And then off we go again on the same thing. Paul McGregor says, evening, Peter, I'm watching from my hospital bed. I love the show. Paul, I do not know your predicament, but I hope you get well soon, and I hope you are back at home watching our show and enjoying it on a regular basis as well, Monday to Friday. Talking of signings, we don't have 40 million, but we'll certainly be out in that transfer market ourselves, bringing you more pundits to join the show, and we're really looking forward to that. Roughy and I are looking over. We're getting, lots of people putting in their CV. Roughy and I just looking over them at the moment, just checking so that we've got the right criteria. And I'm sure you'll agree, guys, the right qualities that you have to have for this programme is you've got to be a team player, you've got to like a right good night out, you've got to totally and utterly understand Ruffy's humour and his complete back catalogue of the type of person he is. Have I missed anything out, guys?
Not at all.
Well, Peter, I trapdoor early, so I don't know what happens later on.
Yeah, you're 9:30. You were nearly getting dropped, by the way. 9:30, steaming and leaving the staff party is not on. Lots of people mentioning to us. Hi to Patrick McFadden, Matt Gunner, Martin DH says Martin Boyle wouldn't get a game at Celtic. No, I think you're being very harsh on him there, to be perfectly honest with you. And
Peter,
also,
going back on that, and Hugh did mention it. Now, he's had a few injuries and he's not had a sustained run in the team, but I've worked with him. Mikey Johnston has the potential to be a real star for Celtic. And they've got him to come back. So in the wide areas, I don't actually think Lenny will be looking for anybody in the wide areas.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm curious to see. Yeah. I think he definitely needs centre half. He's looking at a striker as well. Rangers, they've made a signing today. If you've just joined us, Kemar Roofe has joined from Anderlecht. He was at Leeds United, a good goal-scoring record. So he's a young man who's obviously joined with the ambition of playing European football as well. Rangers fans, if you're out there, give us your thoughts on that. I would like to respond to this, which is just, again, simply the Star Dog who says, Hugh McDonald just can't hide his feelings. I hope you get a former Rangers player in there between Hugh, Allison and McManus. He says it's hard to listen to. Well, that's on YouTube. Simply, at the end of the day, believe me, if you're tagging people on where you think their affiliation lies, this isn't the show for you. We leather everybody. If they're going to be open to criticism, they will be criticised. If you're watching football, watching and wanting to see pundits waving flags for Rangers or Celtic, you've come to the wrong train station, because we'll give you an opinion on any team and be critical of a number of them. Even Roughy in his Partick Thistle, I think I kicked him where the sun don't shine early on in the season for his WhatsApp collusion with the other two clubs. So it doesn't matter which club you support. If there's something critical to be said, you'll get an opinion on this programme and it will be informed, not like other stations talking about how big a job Bournemouth is. It all depends on what floats your boat. Now, what about last night? Darren, don't know about you. I've tipped Motherwell for third. Countless chances. I'm only going to say one thing to you, Darren Jackson. If you've ever done this yourself, then I'm going to be highly critical of you as well. If you're taking a penalty, unless you're Socrates of Brazil, you can take 1 or 2 steps back maximum. But if I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, you're Liam Donnelly, how about a wee run-up, Liam, and make sure you hit the target?
Yeah, I'm not into that, Peter. There's people that are confident and can do it, and the Cantoners who just used to watch the goalkeeper. And as soon as the goalkeeper moved, he put another corner. I missed a couple of penalties in my career, but I always took a run up. I always thought, get pace on it, because even if you don't hit it hard, and Roughie can talk about this as well, even if you don't hit it hard, you give yourself a chance. Where if you go up 2 steps and just try and place it in the corner, it always gives the goalkeeper a chance. So, and it's quite hard to be hypercritical on last night, because Liam Donnelly did score a lot of goals for Motherwell last year and he scored a lot of penalties. But you say if the goalkeeper goes the wrong way and you're nice and cool and stick it in, he's calm and great penalty and all that. But I like a little bit pace on my penalties, Peter. And as I say, I think Roughie can comment on that, because if there's pace in it, it makes it obviously harder for the goalkeeper. But if there's no pace, it gives them a wee chance, I think.
Yeah, I think goalkeepers, if they tend to go the right way, they've got a chance of getting it, obviously, because players do that. You know, they just hope the goalkeeper goes the opposite direction. And Darren's right, if they don't put any pace on it at all, then it gives you a better chance. Obviously, height as well. So, I thought the kiss of death last night was the commentator saying, this boy's got a fantastic record at penalties. And all of a sudden, wow. It just kept quiet, but it was just bound to happen. But the game itself, I don't think there was much between the two sides. I personally didn't think the Ross County one was a penalty. I thought it was pretty
Neither
soft.
did I, Roughy.
I thought
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty soft. I think the boy went for it and the referee bought it. And you can see the look on his face, but that's the way it is just now.
Yeah, I thought
to be fair to the ref,
got a
Peter,
touch on it.
To be fair to the ref, you could get probably 10 in a room. 5 might say no, it wasn't a penalty. 5 would say he's got to make a split decision. It looked a penalty, and we watched it from every angle. And there was one angle I saw that Declan got a touch on it, but that's how difficult it is for the referee. It did look a penalty from where he was, and I know you've got to be 100% right. But it did look a penalty.
Yeah. When have you ever been fair to a ref? What do you bump your gums
about,
by the way?
Listen, I'm not going to be fair to referees, but that's how I mean, I'm just trying to say that's how difficult their job is. We could sit here
I
and
just,
Hugh would, I don't know. Did you think it was a penalty, Hugh?
I thought it was a penalty right away. It was one of those ones you're watching the telly and you go, pen, right away. It's, without a replay.
It's when he jumped
anything.
up and you could see Declan going to the ref. I've got the ball. There's a few.
Of course,
the
ball. The whole ball argument, as we know, is irrelevant, But I agree with Dan. It's once I thought right away when you're sitting with my cup of tea, I go, pen. I just said penalty. When I saw afterwards, I saw there was, as you say, some would give it, some wouldn't. The point I thought about it is, and I'll be interested in both you and Roughie's verdict on this because you actually played the game, was why did Declan think it was necessary to go to ground in that position and to make that tackle? Could he not just have stood and blocked in that situation?
Hugh, it's all about decision making in the box. You just react. The ball, Declan had actually headed the ball, and it wasn't a good header. So he's maybe going to try. He's trying to make up for that, and he's thinking. You obviously, as a defender, you think you're going to get there, and the striker was just that little bit sharper. And as I say, he did get a touch in the ball, but he's given the referee a chance. Whether it was a touch in the ball, whether it was a penalty or not, he's given the referee a chance to give a penalty. And I think he reacted to his header.
So, nevertheless, Ross County did well. I'll tell you, I did like Ross Stewart as well. He's quite a he's a gangly looking striker, but seemed to have a good touch on him. Hugh, I thought he did well.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it as well, when he was described as a striker all night, I was just looking at where he was turning up, and playing. He was all over the place. He's one of these guys where, as you say, it doesn't look like a footballer, the way he runs and the size of him, that gangling frame. But I thought he was absolutely outstanding, particularly in the first half. I thought he was outstanding, and I thought he typified the Ross County performance in the first half because Ross County were by far the better team in the first half. I know maybe statistics wouldn't add up. If you were looking at that game and say, what team are really on the front foot here? What is the team that is playing with a bit of get-go, a bit of gusto, a bit of go-ahead? For me, it was Ross County. I thought... You will see the predictions for the season later, and I've noticed that people have, and it's very early days, I noticed that people have put Ross County, towards the bottom of the league, and I see the reasons for that, but I've just got a feeling that Ross County will be fine this season, Peter, I think they've got a stable setup there, a stable amount of players.
Going to give him
I don't know if you heard that, Hugh?
Maggie's going to come in. I'll just shut up and listen to Maggie.
He's just started talking to his wife on the programme and now he's off. Honestly, this programme is plumbing new depths, isn't it? I mean, let's have a chat with our wife and everything. Unbelievable. James Collins has said, not since the whole debacle has unfolded, Peter's never mentioned the Jambos. Is he panging for them? Of course I'll mention the Jambos when they eventually get to kick a ball again. But nevertheless, Roughy, I mean, Darren's thankfully still with us, but Roughy's he's just bowled it. Look, he's bowled away to see his wife. I mean, he's shouting on his wife on the programme, which is absolutely unbelievable. Listen, what about the Ross County manager, David De Gea? I mean, talk about a guy who is an absolute Stonewall lookalike for him. I think even David De Gea posted a picture of him. Yeah, and he said, "Whoa, looks a bit." I mean, that just looks like a doppelganger, doesn't it? To be perfectly honest with you, he got a fair bit of mileage out of it, didn't he, Darren?
He did, yes, but I saw his interview and he's not on social media. So he says, I don't know anything about it, but I think the players in the dressing room were giving him a bit stick as well. But, I mean, there is an incredible resemblance. I saw a picture today of Roy Keane with a beard as well. They had Roy Keane, De Gea. So it showed you the three of them, and it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it magic, though, Peter, the joy of football, that somewhere in a very up market area of Manchester or its environs, somebody's lying back on the couch with his tapas and his sparkling water. The goalkeeper Manchester United taking in Ross County v Motherwell on a Monday night. I just think
the only
that's
thing
fantastic.
I was going to say to you, Hugh, and I don't think I'm stretching it too far here. I reckon 1 week's wages for David De Gea might be possibly 3 years' salary for Stuart Kettlewell. Am I underselling it?
3 years.
Underselling it.
3 years.
It'll be more than that.
4 years?
Well, you look
5 years?
more than that.
I would say. I would say
10 years.
8 years, Peter. 9 years.
8 to 10 years. I would say 8 to 10.
Salary?
On the base.
De Gea will be out on 400 grand
a week.
A week, yeah.
And Kettlewell tops will be on 40 to 50 a year.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Wow. God, how hard is that? I thought he might be on 60, 70, and then, even then.
So.
What, Roughy?
I would guess.
What do you?
I would guess.
What do you?
I would guess.
What did Maggie?
What
does Maggie think?
I would guess.
What does Maggie guess since she left and had a chat with her on the show? I mean, everybody now knows your wife's name's Maggie.
I would guess 70.
Yeah, I thought 70, Roughy. I thought 70. I might be wrong. Yeah. Also, I'm just going to say to you, we always try and get news. The main rumours flying about is that Rangers, off the back of signing Kemar Roofe, will add another signing very shortly as well. So that might be something for Rangers fans to get their teeth into. If he's signing 2 strikers, I think the writing's on the wall for your man, Morelos. Give us your thoughts on that. The Joint Response Group can confirm that between Monday the 27th of July and Sunday the 2nd of August, a total of 1,274 COVID-19 tests were carried out in the Scottish Premiership, Heart of Midlothian and Glasgow City, with no positive results recorded. So that news just in. So that's good news that we can report at this moment. And also, I'd like to say thank you to all the people who are on our Facebook and our YouTube who are posting, comments about football, and they want to obviously talk about football. And I'm quite happy with a lot of them. We always offer apologies to the one or two who are just arguing with each other. You just got to blank them. These people are just living in their own world. But we will mention as many of the football comments as we possibly can on the news that's happening, and certainly enjoying the banter here. What were you asking Maggie for, Roughy? Because everybody's wondering now what you were. Was it more gin? Were you running out of gin?
No.
That's what somebody
No.
said on our feed.
No.
Roughy's running out of gin.
No, it wasn't. It was something very trivial. So it's nothing to worry about.
And that is our competition for this week. What was Roughy asking his wife Maggie for on a live show?
She's not clean. She's not cleaned the bowls for him.
Yes, of course, Darren, because he'll need to be able to see the little bit on the left-hand side which tells you that's the heavier end, and then you get the balance as it swerves in. Magnificent. Anyway, apart from anything else, thanks very much to everyone who's... Stuart Carruthers says Ross County looked better in the first half, but they weren't great. Motherwell were poor first half, second half dominated, but missing the penalty summed up their night. It did. I mean, listen, I've tipped Motherwell for third. I'm not going to renege on that. It's a long way to go, as Hugh McDonald mentioned. And with that in mind, here is the definitive after game 1 of the season. Here's the Premier League table to let you have a look at where it all stands. Celtic at the top with a goal difference of +4, and at the bottom it's Hamilton, Motherwell, Livingston, Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. And that undoubtedly will have a few twists and turns as we continue through this season. And it is, for me, the mother of all seasons, because I think rational thinking people will be thin on the ground the more this programme goes through the winter months. I have to tell you, really it takes me back to a period in my life in broadcasting where I felt it got really poisonous, and I hope it doesn't get there. I hope we're talking about all the good things in football, and lots of things that we can cheer. Great play, great players, and hopefully some of the signings that are coming in for the clubs in Scotland, we can start to really talk about the skills that they are showing to enhance our game, and maybe educate a few down south who know nothing about it. Anyway, apart from anything else, Ruffy, what about your mob with Hearts? Now, clearly, this is becoming a little bit tedious. Why don't both parties just shut up now and get on with it? Because the SPFL have accused Hearts and Thistle of keeping your fans in the dark over reasons why they were relegated in the arbitration judgment. Both clubs blocked the publication of the judgment. Do you want to shed any light on that?
No, I've been instructed when I knew we were going to get to this subject that I was just to put on my mask and retaliate from anything to be said. So I'm not going to be biased in anything at all.
I mean,
no,
is that the new Partick Thistle mask?
Yes, we have masks for the supporters to wear. Yeah. Very good.
That is
very
fantastic.
Good. I mean, obviously they want to bring it out now because it suits them. They didn't want to bring out all the other stuff when we were all asking, particularly when the votes came out. Right? Who voted yes? Who voted no? Oh no, we're not telling you. That's a closed shop. We can't tell you anything like that. So they just want things to suit themselves. That's the way it is. I'm sure we want to move on as well, but obviously there's another thing coming up that a fine could be in store there as well. So it's okay. First of all, the SPFL said, right, that's it done, let's move on. But they're not letting it move on. You know, they keep bringing up these things, as I said earlier, because it suits themselves, because they come out as the winners in this thing, and they want to shout for the heavens, and that's what they're doing.
Hugh, this is two-member clubs. Why don't they just shut up and stop attacking each other?
Because, as I've alluded to for months now, and people, people were criticising us for this when we're saying that these wounds are running so deep. I think they're almost. I think it'll take it, years and years for anything like this to in any way heal, Peter. And that's why people are really, on both sides, have been deeply hurt with this. People in the middle have been really deeply hurt with this. I mean, you had Dundee United, Wraith Rovers and Cove, really angered that we've been dragged into this, really angered that we've been sued by fellow clubs. And that's what happened, no matter what anybody says. That's what happened. So they're not going to sit. And I think if the SPFL had lost this case, I think the hierarchy at Hearts and Partick Thistle in particular would have been desperate to get the reasons why the SPFL lost out. It's a natural thing. So I think it's very natural for the chief executive and the chairman of the SPFL, who have been accused of all things: incompetence, corruption, back dealing. They've been accused of everything, and not one inquiry has come up. Not one inquiry has come up, and all the inquiries we've had and laid a glove on them. So I think it's understandable that they come out and say, we want to show how clean we were. But it's going to go on and on.
Yeah, I don't think the Partick Thistle Hearts thing is a need for them to come out and still continue this petty-mindedness about the whole thing. I mean, it wasn't after all Hearts and Partick Thistle that were calling into question Neil Doncaster's credibility and his integrity. But nevertheless, I'm not surprised by anything now. James Collins is one of our top fans, and he says, this show, Peter, it's just a Hearts and Partick Thistle show. I like where you're going. I like where you're going with it, James, because if you start talking about one team for too long, it becomes that type of show. Anyway, here's another thing to start an argument. Our reporter, Gabriel Antoniazzi, is going to, every week after each game is played, come up with the team of the week. Let's see if you agree with him.
Jack Alnwick kept a clean sheet on his debut despite Livingston's 12 attempts on goal. Jeremy Frimpong means to attack all season. He notched Celtic's second strike. Leon Balogun impressed on his Rangers debut, commanding the back line. Richard Tate scored a diving header any striker would be proud of. Greg Taylor completes the back four with 2 assists to his name. Martin Boyle's brace were his first goal since Boxing Day. Joe Aribo continued his fine pre-season form against Aberdeen. Joe Newell helped Hibs' impressive counter-attacks. Chris Burke's free kick will get him in any team of the week across the globe. Ross Stewart worked tirelessly up and down and dispatched his penalty. Odsonne Edouard played in his slippers, scoring his second Celtic hat-trick.
Yeah, what do you make of that team, Roughy?
Yeah, I would only question maybe 2. I would give a shout for the Hamilton keeper. Although he lost 5 goals, I thought he was pretty impressive, some of the saves that he made.
You'd give him a shout for Team of the Week?
Yeah, I would, yeah. Yeah, I thought some of the saves he made were really, really impressive. I don't think he was at fault for any of the goals. And I know Edward scored a hat-trick, but I think everybody sort of put it in the back burner. And I thought Ryan Christie was absolutely immense. I thought the energy that he had, the ball that he played over the top for one of the goals, plus the overlap that he had for the shot and one of Edward's goals, I would have had him in as well.
Wow, okay. I'm disagreeing with Roughy. What about you, Hugh?
No, I think that, I mean, I was looking at Newell and saying, does he quite make it in the team? But then the good thing about that is I couldn't come up with any real, burning options of it. I think he, it really pains me to say this about Gabriel, but I think he's got it just about bang on.
Yeah. Darren, is there anybody you think should be in there? Is your glasses okay? Can you see the phone?
Yeah, I was just looking at the Ross County team last night, Peter. I thought the young left back had a fantastic game until Seedorf on, and he was obviously tiring, and of course he's lightning quick anyway. But I thought the young boy had Jake Hastie's good reputation, good time at Motherwell before he went to Rangers. And he's come back, and I thought the young kid. But obviously, you've got Taylor in there, and you've got Tate, who actually played left back as well. So it'd be hard to put him in. But if there's any argument, I thought the young kid had a fantastic game last night.
Just out of curiosity, Darren, I know we always try to seize on anything that's behind anybody's back. Have you put a lovely landscape on the back of your telly there just to make it look almost, just a...
No, it's actually, I've just put the lamp on the light and it's shining onto the television.
Right, okay. So
it's the lamp.
So it's all staged, right? Okay. It just looks like one of those show houses, Everything looks in its place. Ian McIver says, I can't be bothered watching this, and he's very derogatory with the statement. He said, I can't be bothered watching this programme. What a joy that Ian has left the programme now. That's absolutely magnificent because, as ever, on this programme, we can take criticism, but if you're going to be abusive, sectarian, or anything else, don't watch it. Just go and watch club television. It'll do us all a world of good. So Jason Wood and David Palfreman, Dave Edwards, lots of guys. I love that name, Dave Edwards. It brings back great memories, Roughy. I don't know about you, but every time I see it, Dave Edwards. This Dave Edwards is from Western Australia, and his mate Brian Lynch, and they watch the programme all the time. But as soon as I see his name, I just think of Dave Edwards. It's a great story, Roughy, isn't it? Tell Darren the story.
Dave Edwards, Prison Journal. I was up in that neck of the woods, and he said to me, Roughy, there's a new nightclub opened, and I think we should go down and try it out.
Do it in the Dave Edwards voice, Roughy. You're always better at
when
it.
I get there. So he says, we must go down and see this new nightclub. So we go down, and there's a massive queue. There's a massive queue outside. First night opening. And Dave Edwards goes up to the wee slat in the door, and the boy goes, yeah, is it? He goes, Dave Edwards, Prison Journal, here for the opening night. And the boy said, oh, sorry, Dave, but we're pretty full. It's the first night. He says, no. He says, don't worry about it. I've got a celebrity with me. And he says, the boy says, who have you got? He says, I've got Alan Rough. 3 World Cups. He's going to be a guest tonight. So the boy goes away and shuts the slat in the door. And he comes back 2 minutes later and he opens it and he goes, I don't give a damn who you've got, Dave. You're not getting
in. So automatically, it makes you go flat as a pancake.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Darren. I hated queuing up for nightclubs. As soon as I looked at a queue, I thought, no, not having it.
No, it was when you were younger, Peter. It was just I had to do it. You were the DJ, so you would just walk right in and all that, and be no problem.
Magnificent.
Everyone would know you. So I did used to. There was a couple of times, obviously, when you said you could go right to the front. I actually didn't like it. I was embarrassed, and you got a few heckles and all that. But once you were in, you didn't really bother about it. But no, I queued up, and when I was younger.
Yeah, absolutely. Hugh, did you queue up, or was there always a feeling that if you stood outside and the siren went off, everybody had to scarper down to the railway station for protection?
Well, remember, Peter, in my drinking days, it was difficult to queue up when you were lying in the gutter face down.
I knew you would find dark humour in it. I knew you would find it.
But the other thing, and this is really true, and it sounds like a cliche, this is how old I am. There wasn't that many nightclubs about when I was young. I mean, when you're talking about me at 20, for example, which is prime nightclubs here, that's 45 years ago. You know,
well, 40. Like, well, wait a minute. What year were you? What year were you 20? What age were you? What year was it when you were 20?
Wait, 75, 1975.
Oh, 75. The Apollo was open.
Yeah. I know, it was Clouds
in Glasgow.
It was Clouds, but it wasn't really like it wasn't like nightclubs. There wasn't like nightclubs the way nightclubs are now. I mean, we used to go, Roughie will know this as well, see, like for entertainment, for going out, you would go into the town now and again for a nightclub. But see all the wee men's clubs and all that around the villages and all that.
Oh, yeah.
You tend to
some great bands.
I mean, great bands, really good bands, cheap.
But did you not have was the Muscular Arms not open in Glasgow when you were 20?
It was. Yeah, the
Muscular Arms. That was.
Yeah, but the Muscular Arms had a motto that they used to give to me every night, Peter. They used to give me this motto every night, and it was, "Not tonight, son." That was the Muscular
Arms. Kenny Whitson says Clouds in Edinburgh was
Edinburgh.
And Michael Creighton says the Warehouse, which is fantastic. But my favourite is the guy Lachlan Gold, who has just brought back so many memories for me. It is unbelievable. Now, I kid you not, Darren, Lachlan Gold has just mentioned Paris Nightclub in Paisley. No, Buster Brown's is good in Edinburgh, which is fantastic. But Paris Nightclub in Paisley in Edinburgh, Paris Nightclub in Paisley was brilliant because that's where Macca and I started our friendship. We started in Toledo, and then we'd go on a Wednesday night to either the Cotton Club in Glasgow or off to Paris Nightclub. And Paris Nightclub, Roughy, was mental. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Was that owned by Davy Walters?
Yes. What a
nice
great
guy.
Memory you have, Roughy. Great lad.
He actually played for Partick Thistle in his younger days. He played for a season or two, and then unfortunately had a bad car accident. But I was going to say to Hugh, you must have went to the Denison Pally.
No, never. Honestly,
No.
Never out the Pally. What was the one in the south side? What was the one? Was that the Locarno? The one at Eglinton Toll. I went to the one at Eglinton Toll on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I would go there. I can't even remember it.
See, the great thing about it, Darren, is because of my mates, we just used to get in a bus, hire a bus, and we'd fire through to any nightclub. You know, I think Jackie O's Kirkcaldy. Fantastic. Melville's in Livingston when it first opened was phenomenal. Cinderella's in Edinburgh was fantastic. Alison says Tiffany's in Glasgow. George Mullins says the Plaza. George Mullins mentioned the Plaza, but I used to go there with 2 snipers and a submachine gunner, to be honest with you. because that was a place and a half. Anyway, apart from anything else, there was
You'd be struggling. You'd be struggling,
What?
Peter. You'd be struggling to leave the Locarno at the bottom of Sucky Hall Street with a United Kingdom in one arm and a Miss World in the other arm. That'd be a hard one to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Well, to be honest with you, when I got to Edinburgh and I started to hang out with Darren, I think we managed to go out with Miss Pilton and Miss Craig Miller one night. I don't know. I'll never forget those two girls, Darren. It was fantastic. Still, Darren went on to marry one of them, but nevertheless, let's crack on. What about Stephen Fletcher? I think Tam McManus is Stephen Fletcher's agent. He has, he's absolutely been pushing the boat out for him to try and get him a move to Celtic. Celtic say they won't be caught in a bidding war for him. I don't know about you, Hugh, but I like him as a player. I thought when he came back into the Scotland squad, he could hold the ball up, bring other people into the game, midfielders, the lot. I liked him.
Well, I do as well. I think I'm interested to hear Darren's views on him, having played in a similar position. I think he's technically an excellent player. He always does well at clubs. He's one of these guys that's routinely criticised as well by some. But if you listen to people who know something about the game, and most importantly, people that have played alongside him, he's a top-class player. What I think with the Celtic situation will be at the moment is he's probably in the wee box, sort of filed under consideration and waiting to see what happens with other targets. I mean, if they're talking about being priced out, they can only really be talking about wages, can't they? Because there's no transfer fee to be paid. So that would be my view. But I'd be interested to hear what Darren thought of him as a player.
Yeah, he's obviously a very, very good player. I mean, he's had a few moves down there. He's been in teams that have been relegated, but people have bought him right away because he's done such a good job. But for me, and Peter, you're going on about how biased Tam's been and trying to get him a move to Celtic and all that. But for me, once Griffiths is fit, I don't think Stephen Fletcher would come up and play second fiddle. He wants to come up and play, and I think Griffiths is the best finisher at the club. Now, Darren. Sorry,
Darren. I have to say to you, he's looking for someone because I think he's already in his mind said, I cannot rely on this boy to have another mistake.
Yeah, I get that. 100% get that. Yes, but I just thought the partnership last year was fantastic with him and Edward, and you saw at the start of I thought Hamilton were brilliant in the first half, but I thought Edward was wanting to come off the game too much and be a number 10 and getting the ball, and there was leaving a big hole where last year he could do that because Griffiths was there. And so I just thought it was a wonderful partnership. And Lenny's obviously praised Griffiths for getting back into shape, and I've heard, not from him, I've heard from a lot of people at Celtic that he is in real good shape now. And so I just see that partnership was so good. I think Lenny will try and get that back. And I couldn't see Steve coming up and playing second fiddle to especially Griffiths. Edward, it's a different story.
Yeah, okay. It's all about opinions. We've been talking about Rangers have signed Kemar Roofe. There's real talk of a second striker being added to the equation as well. So we will wait and see if indeed Rangers can land a second striker. Certainly would be a huge indication that they mean business and they're not going to take any chances on the Morelos situation, and they're not going to be caught short. As far as Rangers getting ready for Thursday against Bayer Leverkusen, Stephen Gerrard's mentioned they're not going to give it up. They're certainly going to put in a fight. They're 3-1 down. Here's the squad that they're going to have to use for it, because as ever, there's just a couple of additions in there. Andy Firth with Alan McGregor is who they'll be using for the goalkeepers. Can't use McLaughlin because he's not signed at the right time for this squad. Tavernier, Golson, Edmondson, Hilander, Barisic, Hadji, Jack, Davis, Kent, Kamara, Barker, Arfield, Jones, and then Defoe, Aribo, Morelos, and Greg Stewart as well. So, what do you make of that squad, Roughy? Is it good enough to cause a big upset in Germany?
I think it's a good squad. I don't think it's good enough to beat them over there. And the evidence of what we saw at Ibrox, I think this is a quality side with quality players. We see that other clubs want to pay a right few bob for a couple of their players, so they've got quality. I think the only thing that might go in Rangers' favour is obviously no fans in the stadium. I think it would have been an uphill task, if that stadium had been full. But no, there's no evidence for me to say that Rangers are going to go there and beat them 2-0 or whatever. I just can't see it. I think if Rangers go over there and maybe get a 1-1 draw, it'd be something they can talk about and move on and see it as some kind of progression.
Hugh, can you see Rangers winning that tie?
I can, because Leverkusen are what it's called by sophisticates a right good mob. The teams in Germany, you look at Bayern Munich are favourites to win the Champions League. Dortmund pushed PSG very close in the Champions League knockout stage, and Leipzig beat Spurs comfortably. So that they're the only teams in Germany you'd say were better than Leverkusen, Peter. So that's a good side. The one thing in Rangers' favour is that it's been a spell since Leverkusen have played a competitive match, a month since they played a competitive match, so that'll play into Rangers' hands. The other thing that plays into Rangers' hands, Rangers are very comfortable with teams coming on to them, but I still think Leverkusen are a cut above.
Okay, we've got a couple of things that we want to get your thoughts on. Of course, the Premier League table we did show you, but we didn't show you the overall predictions now after game one from Hugh and Darren. Hugh, your overall predictions, if you just kind of a gloss over it here, but nevertheless, you've got a fair bit of stick from the Hamilton team. They're all over you like a rash because you've tipped them to go down.
Yeah, I've actually called the SPFL this morning, Peter, and asked them to call the league because just because my tip are at the top of the league and my tip to get relegated are at the bottom of the league, so I've got it perfectly right today. I'm quite right. Listen. It's quite right for Hamilton supporters to give me pelters. I mean, they're just disagreeing with me. I don't mind. You come on this phone and people, this programme, people shout about your opinions and all, and I love all that. The whole point of the matter is there's nobody sitting here infallible in their opinions. There's nobody sitting here that's got the divine right to predict the season. Otherwise, we'd have won the pools and we'd be living in Roughie's private island at the moment. We're not, and I think the only thing I think about Hamilton, Peter, is I would love Chipper to stay up. I've got an awful lot of respect and time for Chipper Rice. I'm just going on the basis that they've got the lowest budget in the league, and one day that's got to bite them. Surely it hasn't bitten them for 8 seasons, but surely one day it's got to bite them.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, at the end of the day, this is a show where you enjoy it, you give your opinion, you enjoy the banter, and then occasionally, if it's getting a little bit heated, you just look to the left-hand side and then take a little drink of your gin with the ice in it, and you don't have a care in the world. That's the way it goes on this show. And every now and then, if it really does get heated, you just put your mask on and don't bother saying anything. And that's the way Roughy views the show. Now, look at Darren there. I'm worried about Darren because, quite simply, one, I think he's frozen. Two, let's have a look at his predictions anyway. Let's have a look to see. There's Darren there. He's gone for Ross County to go down, but he's gone for Aberdeen in third place, which, and I've gone for Motherwell in third place. Didn't look, they missed a few sitters last night, but Aberdeen, I think the fans will be hoping they can add a few before Darren's third place. Yeah, well, listen, I must admit,
I switched the Wi-Fi off at the right time there.
Yeah, you did. We were all giving you pelters. Ross County to get relegated and Aberdeen to finish third. An interesting one, Darren, because I think Aberdeen fans will want to see some more additions to that side.
Of course, Peter. I mean, we gave you the predictions before Cosgrove was injured. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've put Livingston there because if Livingston sell Dykes, they'll struggle to replace someone like what Lyndon Dykes, what he's done for them. And it was hard at the bottom. I was caught because obviously, as you said, I've got a great relationship with Chipper, fantastic coach, and I really like Roy McGregor at Ross County. And the way they played last night, and what I noticed, I only went on that, Peter, because they lost 60 goals last year. But what I noticed last night, what a good bench that Ross County had as well. They had they've got a good squad. Motherwell disappointed with their first, very, very disappointed with their first half performance. Second half, they were a lot better. So you can only go on. You're kind of going on before the transfer window closes. Who's going to bring players in? Who's going to let players go? So it's just an opinion, and it's not where you want people to finish. It's just an opinion, and I'm trying to dig myself out a hole here, haven't I?
So I was just about to say, Darren, you're doing that. You're just a big softie. Ross County fans, get into them, by the way. Just leather them. Also, I've got to say, lots of nice messages come in. And Marion says, that's my break over. I've got to go back to work. You see, Marion's great about it because what Marion does is she looks for a break and thinks it's between 4 and 5. I'm having my break so that I can get into the Peter and Roughy football show, get the opinion, enjoy a bit of banter, talk about a few nightclubs. We've had everything in this. We've had the bowls, we've had nightclubs that we've all got absolutely bladdered in, and we've got players that we like, some we don't, strikers that we've rated, some we don't. It's all about opinions on the programme. Last one that we're going to talk about is retiring, Roughy, at 39. I'm dying to know if you rated him. Iker Casillas has called it a day. He's hanging up the gloves.
Oh, one of the top. I think his stats speak for itself. Superb. Not the tallest keeper in the world, but had everything, and possibly, I mean, you probably tell me, he has won everything, and as a goalkeeper, that's all you can do. And he's obviously, I don't know if he's gone into management or whatever, but he's done everything in the game, and he's definitely up there in the top 5 goalkeepers in the last 20 years anyway.
I think he's destined for a job as a goalkeeping coach at Real Madrid, by the way. Did you see the photograph? I don't think we have it with us, but did you see the photograph of the medals and the cups that he's won in his time? It was
25.
Incredible.
25 trophies, five leagues, 3 Champions Leagues, and all the other cups. I mean, an incredible keeper. And I think Roughy, has he got the record shutout in the Champions League?
He's got a few. I think we talked about it on the show once. I think he was up there,
Yeah. James MacArthur says he's definitely going back to Madrid. Thanks for that, James.
Yeah.
It's a good shout by James, and it's a good shout by anyone looking at his career. And he's Madrid through and through.
I think the only is a big blot. The only big, and it's a major blot in his copybook, Peter, is that he'll never be, rated as one of the great goalkeepers because he hasn't got a Bowles medal. That's
I wouldn't be too sure about that.
Yeah.
He's got every other medal.
Yeah, absolutely. Stuart Ramsey says Roughy needs to sell that house he's living in at the moment. It's on top of a tectonic plate. Clearly, they're worried about you, Roughy, because every now and then, you just freeze or you don't come through. Listen, it's been an absolute joy. It's all about opinions. We do indeed love the fact that you join us on the programme and join the football family. We've got a fantastic competition coming up very shortly that I think you really will enjoy. You'll see it in all the major cities and you can get involved with it as well. What we want you to do is like, share and follow us on Facebook, and you can join our football family there. There are so many people. Thanks to John Donald, who says, great show again. We'll see you all tomorrow. John, that's the thing we love about it, to each and every one of the guys and girls who love the show and enjoy the banter and, give us their opinion and leather us from time to time. That's the joy of it all. That's what football's all about. It is, after all, our favourite national pastime, and we love our sport. As long as you're not abusive, we will welcome you into this family. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget you can subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing. The figures are in. We're Scotland's #1 football show. It's not something that we can fabricate. It's not something we come up with in a slogan just to try and indoctrinate you with propaganda. It's quite simply the figures are there for all to see on Facebook and YouTube. We've got some great people joining us. We've got some special guests. And Roughy will be just splashing out and making big signings just to keep Jackson on his toes so that he knows he's got to hold the ball up and bring the midfield into play.
Yeah, and unfortunately for us, Peter's signings usually start up front. They don't hang about. You're in. you bring somebody, you're in.
Exactly.
Nobody in the wings in this show. Nobody
exactly.
About, straight in.
No, exactly. And if you get too big for your boots, Hugh, and you've been here since Hugh's been here since the start. Hugh, you are my Dave Mackay of the team. You are my Pat Stanton. You are my George Connolly. You're the man. You've been here since the start. What's the secret to longevity, Hugh?
Well, I just refuse to be fired. Every time you say every time you say we don't need you this week, Hugh, I just turn up anyway.
He's the keeper, the Chelsea goalkeeper. I'm not coming off. No, I'm not.
I'll never forget that. Hey, can you imagine it, Roughy? Can you imagine Roughy, you turning round to Bertie? He said, come off, and you said no. Bang. You've been knocked out.
You're right.
Anyway.
You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, good luck with the Bulls, Roughy. Apart from anything else, thanks to everyone for joining us on the programme. From Darren, from Hugh, Roughy, and myself, Peter Martin. Like, share, follow, and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit Arnold Clark